Hey, what's going on, fam? So I know it's been a minute. Obviously, a lot of crazy stuff has been happening with the coronavirus. I know my last video I said I will be making, several more videos in the next couple of days or week or so, and I didn't. It's been like a month since I've last made a video, and I do want to apologize for not, being a man of my word, so to speak. Even though that wasn't like a promise, I still said I would do it, and I didn't. But obviously, a lot of things have been happening, just both personally and with everything that's been going on in the world with the coronavirus. So my apologies, fam, for being out for so long. Hopefully, y'all are sticking with me because I'm back now. Obviously, with the coronavirus, I will be at home a lot more. I'm working from home starting next week. So I should have more time to make videos. No promises, but I'm going to do my best to make more videos more often, especially more often than I have recently over the past, I would say, 2 months where I've really slowed down. Um, but anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the video. But before I even get into the meat of this video, the first thing I want to say is rest in peace to Dr. Layla Africa. I saw a video earlier today of his wife, um, you know, on actually her YouTube channel or his YouTube channel, announcing that he's deceased. If those of you who don't know, though, most of you should know. Um, I know some of you don't. Dr. Layla Africa, he was basically kind of an Afrocentric scholar who focused on health and wellness, and I believe he may have been a Pan Africanist, or I'm pretty sure he was a Pan Africanist. I mean, he wore the dashikis and all that, but um, you know, regardless of any ideological differences I may have had with him, he was still an elder, and he came from a time where you know Pan Africanism was maybe a little bit more viable, or even if it wasn't more viable, it wasn't being realized at that time the way many of us are realizing now that it's not a viable uh, political or social revolutionary strategy, because Africans are simply not uniting the way we would need them to, and reaching out to us as people who are um, cast-offs from Africa and our stray children. They said they rather call us an Akata than reach out to us and help us. So, but anyway, I digress because this is not um, an anti-Pan Africanism video. But anyway, rest in peace to Dr. Africa. And like I said, regardless of ideological differences, he was still an elder who had our interests in mind. So I'm going to show him respect. Um, but with that being said, um, moving on to what I want to talk about in this video. First thing I want to talk about is the coronavirus and my take on it. I don't have a long take on it or anything. I am suspicious. I try not to be the biggest conspiracy theorist, but I am suspicious that this virus was government engineered, because we all know the kind of world we live in, and the people who rule this world is some diabolical white supremacists and just elites in general, even if, white supremacy isn't their number one thought, which I would say for 90% of the elites it is. That's why we have a system of white supremacy. But even for those few elites out there who may not have white supremacy as forefront on their mind, just power and ruling over people, regardless of race, is on their mind. So they have these diabolical um, viruses and diseases that they engineer, and we know that they do it. I mean, we know it's somewhat of a well-known fact. Ebola was engineered. Some of these other things we can't prove that they were engineered, but there's strong suspicions, like even AIDS. And I'm saying that to say I don't know that the coronavirus was engineered, but it's suspicious that this virus just came out of nowhere, especially when you claim that it was a virus that had always been in animals, but yet all of a sudden this new strain leaped off animals and onto us, or leaped from bats, so you claim, and onto us. And it's just suspicious. I suspect that possibly the U.S. government engineered it to damage China's economy, and now it's backfired on us, because that's what happens when you try to make diseases and dangerous weapons and target them towards certain populations. What happens if those diseases spread outside of the targeted population, which is possibly and probably what I believe happened with the coronavirus. But who knows? It could be what people are saying. It could have just been a random mutated strain that just somehow leaped off of bats and got onto us. That's a possibility. But I want to talk, and I'm just saying both are possibilities. I'm not saying either are true or either are not true. I don't know. I don't have enough facts. I wasn't there when the government engineers, um, created the virus, if that's true, and I wasn't there to verify. I'm not the scientist to be able to do the test myself or see that, when it leaped off the first bat or whatever the other excuses are. I'm not there. I don't have the expertise, nor was I a firsthand witness to exactly what happened. So that's why I don't know. Um, but anyway, one thing I do want to talk about is a third possibility, and that's that this virus happened because East Asian people are just nasty. And I know that sounds racist or hateful or whatever it is or what people want to say. First of all, I'm a strong believer that black people can't be racist. That's number one. But number two, um, I don't care if it is racist. So if you want to say I'm a racist or this, that, and the other, I don't care, because Asian people historically are and currently are some of the most anti-black people on the planet. Outside of maybe white people, they are the most anti-black people on the planet. Many black people who live in China right now will tell you that they're called racial slurs to their face on a regular basis. We have countless pictures and photos of Asians performing in blackface. We know that when they come over here, they fully buy into the model minority myth, and they um, get all these business loans from either their home country or from the U.S. and from the white supremacists who are intentionally elevating them above black Americans. And these people come over here, even though they have all these handouts and hand-ups, and they don't have the baggage that black Americans have that's dragging them down. And then they come out here and they wag their finger at us and fully support and promote the model minority myth. And you Negroes, look at us. You guys don't make it because you're lazy. You guys don't make it because you don't work hard enough. You guys don't make it because you're not intelligent enough. As a matter of fact, many of the Asians over here are on the alt right and are just straight up want to be white supremacists. Like, I mean, you can look at what's that chick's name? I can't even remember her name. Tila Tequila. She's a big anti-black racist and an alt-right person, even though her spouse is like black or half black, or her ex-spouse, something like that. She's been with a black or half black man before, and I think even had kids by him. But even with that being the fact, she's still a big time anti-black racist. There's this other, I can't remember his name at all, but there's this other anti-black Asian racist who's a big um, alt-right dude, and he compared himself to Hitler. And I can't remember his name again. I just can't remember his name. It just totally escapes me because he's not someone I think about on a regular basis. But he does come to mind in talking about this topic, obviously, because he's an Asian. But anyway, there's figures I've known and seen, public figures, who are in the alt-right and who are very racist, and then just unknown Asians on the internet, promoting very anti-black racist beliefs, like, we're descended from apes and we're low intellect and all of this stuff. So anyway, long story short, I've seen an abundance of evidence of, and just to list some other things, Peter Liang, how these Asians had no energy to protest for any of the anti-black killings that have been going on. But as soon as Peter Liang got actually convicted for killing a black man, they came out and protested on his behalf and said that it's racist against them because he's not being treated like a white person, because that's what Asians want, especially in America, is they want honorary white status, and a lot of them feel that they have it, until the coronavirus came around, and then a lot of anti-Asian racism started popping up from the white supremacists, and they started reminding the Asians who's really white and who isn't, just like they were patting the Hispanics on the back, and a lot of the Hispanics, you got Mexican lowriders and Mexican Nazis and all of this stuff. And obviously, Hispanic countries, the black populations, 9 times out of 10 are treated bad and oppressed more than the lighter skinned populations in Hispanic countries. So the countries that these Hispanics come from. So they're very, very anti-black too. But this is not really about them. This is about the Asians. And I was only bringing up the Mexicans to mention how they got their wake-up call when Trump got in office, and when he started talking about walls and stuff, he started reminding them that they're not really white, and who was really white and who isn't. And now it's the Asians' turn to be reminded who's really white and who isn't. So I don't have no mercy, because um, just like we're lazy and we don't work hard and we don't have the natural intelligence that the Asian man has, Asians are nasty. You eat rats, you eat cats, And that's probably how you got the coronavirus. So since we're lazy and that's how we ended up in the situation that we're in, you're nasty and you have the same Neanderthal origins as white people, and that's how you got the coronavirus. And it is the China virus because that's where it came from. So it is the China virus. I agree with Trump 100% that it is the China virus. But anyway, I digress. That's just my feeling about Asians and the coronavirus. And like I said, I don't care because Asians have a historically and immense. They're probably, like I said, outside of white people, they are the most anti-black ethnic group on the planet at this point. And to me, it's not really arguable. I mean, you might argue that Hispanics are a close second, or even Arabs, or some other groups. But I feel that East Asians, are the most anti-black people outside of white people. And even if you could argue someone else, you can't argue that they're far more racist than Asians. And I'm talking about Mexicans, or Arabs, or whoever else you want to think of. I would believe that you would have a hard time arguing that they're worse than East Asians. East pale slanted eye Asians, basically the people who populate China. Um, but anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that. That's just my feeling about the Asian people and why I have no mercy for the racism that you've been experiencing. Hold your own nuts, as they say. But moving on to one last thing. One last thing I want to talk about is Bernie. And I'm going to be making more videos about what's going on in politics. But I want to talk about Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders is collapsing. I know there's some theories that he's being cheated out of the Democratic primary. I don't know if that's true or not, or being cheated again out the Democratic primary. But whether he was cheated or not, this failure was predictable. Because, as I said, Bernie is a fake radical, so he's not going to really call out Joe Biden or any other establishment candidate to the degree that he should. He's not going to tear them down and expose them to the degree that he should. And so he's failed. He's another fake radical. He endorsed Hillary last time. He's going to endorse Joe Biden this time. After you Bernie bros sit up there and talk about how horrible Hillary and Biden are, he spits in your face and shits on you and endorses them anyway because he's a fake radical. He was never serious about making real change. He's just there to give people who are fed up with the system hope that somebody out there agrees with them, but he doesn't, and he's not going to do anything radical to change this nation. And even if he was, and even if you guys really were going to, even if he was really cheating, and you guys, if he wasn't cheating, you would have got him in the office. He would have given anyway to the establishment. Anything that he did that benefited us, he would have gave it anyway to establishment. But actually, what I wanted to say too was that, let's say hypothetically, Bernie is genuine, and if he got into the presidency, he would really do what he claims, all the great things that he claims he would do. Again, none of which help black people, which I've gotten on in the past, or none of which significantly help black people or close the racial wealth gap in the way that we need by targeting the racial wealth gap. He comes up with all these platitude, universal programs that are not going to help, and tell us that it's going to help us, but it's not. But let's say that he was going to do all these great things. That's probably, and let's say also that he got cheated. That's probably why they cheated him, because the system is rigged. I don't know for sure, but I strongly believe that it is, because obviously us as black people, we're not getting anything we need because our black politicians are all bought off. And the same thing with you white Bernie bros, or you whatever race you are, including you black ones. The system is rigged and it's corrupt, and the only way you're going to force it to change is by withdrawing from it, is by withdrawing from the system, so that the people who run the system, the elites, who we don't know who their names are, but who are know for sure who their names are, but so that they can sit back and say, hey, our whole fraud stands on the fact that people believe that they are controlling the government with their votes. And if they start withdrawing from the system, that is a signal that they are starting to lose belief that they have control over the government with their votes. And so then they're going to try alternative methods. And again, that doesn't mean that you have to necessarily go to the alternative methods, but it is a sign that it could happen. And that's all you need. And obviously, with me, I focus on black people and black Americans. So that, regardless of whether or not other races of people take up this strategy, we should take up this strategy because we are the most neglected political group, or whatever you want to call us, interest group, social group, whatever you call us as far as political demographic. We are the most neglected constituency in America. So we have no choice but to withdraw our votes. And I know the suicide down ballot Negroes, and I haven't really been paying attention to them. I haven't listened to any Antonio or Vet videos in months, so I don't know what they're on right now. Um, but I do know that they most likely haven't changed from the suicide down ballot strategy. And I know the suicide down ballot Negroes are believe that you should vote for everyone but the president. But listen, the same way we got the Congressional Black Caucus right now is exactly what's going to happen if we continue to vote suicide down ballot. Because until you get candidates that have committed to your agenda before you put them in office, you are never going to get what you want. That's why they keep doing to Bernie what they're doing, and that's why they're going to keep doing to us as black people what they're doing. Because we have to leverage our vote and our constituency saying, hey, we will cause you to lose the general election if you do not meet our needs. Because if you don't meet our needs, it doesn't matter who gets in office. But we know that one side depends on us more than the other, and that's the Democrats. So they are more likely to break and buckle to our needs than the Republicans, who already have a strong base of white supremacists. So I know that. But again, voting for Democrats, while they have not promised that to us, is not the way of getting them to buckle to our knees, causing them to lose over and over and over again. And that's what it may take. It may take several elections. It may take 20 straight years of Republican rule before Democrats come to the table and realize that they need to take a different approach. Or 50 years, or 100 years, who knows? But outside of revolution, nothing else is going to work. No, starting for all the speaking of Pan Africans, as I did earlier, for all the super pro black Afrocentrists, yes, you do need business and money to sustain yourself and not have to rely on the system as much, but you are not going to buy your way out of white supremacy. It's really only two ways. It's really only one way it's going to go, but there's two ways to do the one way. The only way to change the system is by revolution. But is it either going to be by bloodless revolution or by a bloody revolution? What me and other people who are proposing the no black agenda, no vote strategy is, we want a bloodless revolution. That's obviously preferable to a bloody revolution. But or the third choice is you're just not going to get no change, and everything's going to either stay the same or get worse. So those are you got two choices, and you got two choices within one of the choices. You got revolution or stay the same, and within the choice of revolution, you have bloody revolution or bloodless revolution. But anyway, and I say this one last thing to the suicide down ballot Negroes. I know you have Tamara Shealy and these other one or two one-offs that you have to vote for. And if you live in their district and these people truly have a black agenda, sure, go ahead and vote for them. But pledging to go out and vote no matter what because there's something for you to vote for when that may or may not be the case, that's suicidal and stupid. That's the same way that you end up with, you know, all these people who claim to be against Joe Biden endorsing him, like Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard. And that's the way we end up with Elijah Cummings and John Conyers and all of these cats for 20 and 30 years straight, and nothing gets done for us. As a matter of fact, our situations get worse, especially in those particular politicians' regions or districts or cities or whatever they run. Whenever a black person is in office, our conditions actually get worse than before we had a black person in office. Yet we continually vote these people in 20, 30 years in a row. You know, in my city, we have black mayor after black mayor as the city gets more and more gentrified because they're just tokens and faces for gentrification. So all of this suicidal, we're gonna vote down ballot and no, it's not a trustworthy strategy. And I can tell you, like I said, from my own experience, from when I first voted third party, when you get in that booth The temptation to not, because you've gone through all the trouble of registering to vote and standing in line and getting to that booth, the temptation to not follow through on your promise to not vote for certain people falls through. It goes higher. Not saying that it will definitely fall through. But again, when I voted third party in 2014, I sat there for like 15 minutes convincing myself not to vote for Obama and be a man of my word. And I was a man of my word. I didn't vote for Obama. I did vote third party. But again, the temptation was great. And I know that, especially with the way that the suicide down ballot organization is, a lot of those Negroes are still basically Democrats. The temptation for them to vote Democrat down ballot is just going to be too tempting, especially since that's what Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore said, was to vote Democrat down ballot, vote Democrat blindly down ballot. As a matter of fact, when that clip I played with Antonio, if you guys remember, I played it several times in several videos, he only named one Democrat on his ballot because he said he did it in 2016. He named one Democrat that he didn't vote for. So that means that everybody else he voted down ballot for. He said, be clear, that doesn't mean vote Democrat down ballot. It means vote consistently Democrat down ballot unless there's someone who doesn't have your interests or whatever. And then he named some Jackie Lacey woman as the only Democrat who he didn't vote for, whose ballot he left blank. That's what most of the suicide down ballot Negroes are going to do. But the last thing I want to say about, speaking of Tulsi, I mentioned her a little bit earlier. A lot of the Bernie bros are mad at Tulsi for endorsing Joe Biden, but to me, it's like, what did you expect? She's another fake radical who was going to shit on you. And she said at the beginning, I'm going to endorse the eventual Democratic nominee. I'm not going to run third party. Because there's this thing about people where they believe that voting third party or taking an alternative outside the system is so bad. And they allow themselves to be demonized for it because they're establishment puppets. Like Tulsi Gabbard. That's why she said, hey, I promised you at the beginning, I would endorse the eventual nominee. And Biden, even though it's not official yet, he's pretty much the nominee. Bernie's failed. He's fallen flat on his face because he's weak, he's soft, he's milquetoast, and he's a fake liberal. And on top of all that, he's anti-black. So he failed. He disappointed you guys. He betrayed you. And you're mad or he betrayed you this last time when he turned around and endorsed Hillary because he's a fake radical, like I had been saying even back then. And now he's going to turn around. I know it might take a few months because he's going to pretend that he's still in the race, but he's going to turn around and endorse Joe Biden, and he's probably going to go out on the campaign trail for Biden, just like he did Hillary, because he's an old, washed-up sellout. He's too old to fight. He's too old to lead a revolution, and he's not going to do anything for you guys. So my question in bringing up Tulsi is, why are you guys mad at Tulsi? She's no different than Bernie. She's just another fake radical, and she's doing exactly what Bernie is going to do and what Bernie did last election. Because all the Bernie bros are butthurt and angry at Tulsi. Oh, she said she was one of us, and then she endorsed old Biden. Well, Bernie said he was one of you, and he endorsed Hillary. Yet all y'all got behind him again this time, knowing that he's a fraud. But again, this is the reason why I'm mentioning Bernie and all this is my plea to Bernie bros, because you guys have some sense. You're still kind of silly and not intelligent, especially the black ones. But you guys have a little bit more sense than a traditional mainstream Democrat. So I invite you guys to join us in the No Black Agenda, No Vote campaign. I mean, you cannot join us, and you're going to keep getting hurt by Bernie and Tulsi and AOC. She's another fake radical. She's an up-and-coming fake radical. Another, bought and paid for fake radical. You guys are just going to keep getting the same thing over and over, and you're going to get more and more hurt, and eventually you are going to join us in the No Black Agenda, No Vote theory, even though it may not be because of No Black Agenda, because many of you are racist and anti-black. It's going to be because of No Progressive Agenda, No Vote. So I invite you to join us now. Stop falling for the Tulsis, stop falling for the Bernies, and join us now. Or keep doing what you're doing, just like the suicide down ballot Negroes and the A-Dunce movement are going to keep doing what they're doing and keep getting the same results. It's your choice. But anyway, family, this video went a little bit longer than I want, but that's just another rant for me. More videos to come, in the future, I promise this time. I can't say how often they'll be, but they'll at least be at minimum once a week to once every 2 weeks, or at minimum once every 2 weeks. But hopefully more frequent than that. Hopefully every couple of days, um, I'll be dropping a video. But anyway, fam, that's another video. That's just my rant on the coronavirus, Tulsi and Bernie, or the China virus in Tulsi and Bernie, and continuing to stick to our guns of no black agenda, no vote, because our strategy is going to work, because nothing else is going to work. Nothing else is going to change the system. You're going to keep getting Bidens and Trumps until we change the system by showing that we're losing faith in it, because we keep getting puppets of the elites as presidential candidates, family. That's the only thing that's going to change it. It's going to take sending a signal that either you guys change the system in a bloodless revolution by giving us a true candidate of the people, or something else might happen. But anyway, fam, that's another video. Like, share, subscribe, and peace.